Howdy, howdy. I am Vicki, amputee me, and if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I am a right above knee amputee after having my leg amputated twice. I'm going to go into that in a few moments, but first I have to say, woohoo! I finally got my wild haircut. I am so much loving it now. No more hair in my eyes, just in time for the hot Texas summer. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my video channel. On another note, when I was growing up, I was a tomboy. I received baseball mitts and wood-burning kits as gifts. Never really any dolls or girly things because I wasn't interested in it. But before my first amputation, I seen on Walmart's website that they sold amputation Barbies. What? I had to have one. So I went ahead and ordered it, and when I got her in the mail, I placed her on my desk as sort of a good-like item. Here she is. As you see, she is above knee amputee. I was going to have a below knee amputation, and Barbie has an above knee, but that's okay. My husband thought I was jinxing myself at the time when I purchased her. Little did I know at that time that he was right. Alright, today I'm going to be talking about how that I became an amputee. I was working in retail, and anybody that knows that works in retail, you're not in one place in the store, you're all over the store. You're running from one end of the store to the other, constantly moving. It started getting where my legs were getting tired, and I'd have to stop and rest them a minute, and then they'd be fine. I attributed this to me getting older. I was approaching 60, and this was part of the aging process. Then I started getting woken up in the middle of the night with bad Charlie horses. They'd wake me up 2-3 times a night. I'd massage them, they'd go away, but the muscle would still be sore. I'd get them in the back of my calves, on my right leg. Another problem I attributed to being almost 60 years old. Old age will get you. I didn't know that these were all signs of peripheral artery disease, also known as PAD. One night when I was getting layaway in the back room, the ladder I had to climb was a safety ladder, and it clunks down hard when it locks into position. When it clunked down hard, my ankle crunched a little bit. My right ankle. It didn't bother me any, and I continued to take the box up front to the customer. The next morning when I got up, I could not put any weight on my foot. My right foot was swollen, so instead of going to work that morning, I went to the emergency room. They asked what happened. I told them the only thing I can think of was the ladder the night before. When it popped down and snapped into place, my ankle crunched. So they went ahead and x-rayed it and determined it wasn't broken, that it was only sprained. And they gave me a walking boot with a note stating that I could not work on my feet more than 1 hour a day. I was recommended to an occupational doctor since it was a work-related injury. So off to work I go. They filled out an accident report and paperwork for workman's comp. I was to continue to work off my feet, and workman's comp would pay my salary. My boss at the time set me up in the back room, and all I did was mostly sit down and put tags on clothing. I went to the occupational doctor. The first visit, he never once looked at my foot or ankle, just prescribed some pain pills that made me very sick. I was puking all the time, made me fuzzy-headed, my head was swimming, it felt like I was dizzy, like on a carnival ride. He wrote on the workman's comp papers the same restrictions, 1 hour a day on my feet, and continued to go to work and work, setting down, tagging clothing items. In the meantime, I could barely make it to the back to clock in and to the back room. It was too painful to put any weight on my foot. It was starting to burn like it was being crushed with hot cement. The next week, I went and seen the same occupational doctor. He again did not look at my foot at all, did not look at my ankle, wrote me out the same restrictions, and when I complained that I was unable to put any weight at all on my foot, he told me his job was to keep me at work. and would not change the restrictions from 1 hour to 0 because they had to keep me at work working. He also set me up to do PT twice a week. When I complained about the burning, he said it was nerve damage due to the sprain and prescribed gabapentin. Kept me on the same pain pills that made me feel high and puke. So work continued to keep me in the back room. Felt sort of secluded back there, but at least it was still getting my full-time paycheck. At PT, they worked with me. They massaged my foot and ankle. Oh my God, just don't touch my foot. The last 10 minutes were horrible. They would attach a TENS machine to my foot. And if anybody knows, a TENS machine sends tiny little shocks to your body part, which made the burning that much worse. It took everything in me not to scream. The next visit to the occupational doctor sort of shook things up. He had a PA with him at this time, a physician's assistant, and when I complained about my foot burning like hot concrete was being poured on it, the walking boot came off and so did the sock. This stuff hurt my foot even touching it. My foot was bright red and swollen to halfway up my calf. I had 2 toes turning black. He was shocked when he touched it because of how cold my foot felt. He tried to get a temperature reading. It wouldn't register. He used his stethoscope to listen to a pulse. Nothing. Now he's showing concern. He upped my gabapentin dose and sent me up for a visit to an orthopedic surgeon in another town. That visit was 2 weeks down the road, so we were heading to the first week in October. I still had another appointment for the occupational doctor the following week. Work was still having me sit in the back room putting tags on clothing. It was getting harder and harder to make it back there, so I started using crutches that I had at home. I returned to the occupational doctor on my appointment day. After struggling to just get into the clinic, they informed me since the occupational doctor sent me up to see an orthopedic surgeon, they'd canceled my appointment. They didn't inform me this. This just pissed me off. This whole occupational doctor thing has just been one big joke after another. The first week in October, my husband took the day after work and drove me the hour trip to the orthopedic surgeon. I love this guy so much. He took one look at my foot, tried to get a pulse, didn't get one, and told me he wasn't the person I should be seeing. I should be seeing the vascular surgeon. He set me up with an appointment for the vascular surgeon the next day. He also told me at this point he has seen this issue in other people, and sometimes vascular surgery works, other times it does not, and the only other times amputation is a solution. I may be in pain the rest of my life with this if I kept it, and never able to walk on it again. He also informed me the vascular surgeon would not be covered by workman's comp since it wasn't a work-related injury. I understood. Also, this is the first time I even thought of the word amputation, and it scared me. Losing my foot? That wasn't going to happen. They were going to be able to fix it. He filled out the workman's comp restriction paper stating I was to stand 0 hours a day, which means I would no longer be bringing home a paycheck. He also told me not to go to PT, to stop going to PT, period. That was just damaging my foot more. In the meantime, one day when I removed the walking boot, it was stuck to the bottom of my leg due to sweat, and it tore off a tiny little piece of skin, just above the outside right ankle. The spot was tiny, but it was growing in size, looking all nasty and oozing. I kept bandaging it with Neosporin, but it continued to grow. I couldn't sleep at night. The only way to get comfortable was to hang my foot off the edge of the bed. It burned like it was being crushed with flaming cement. Nothing could touch it. No pain pills, gabapentin, nothing helped it. I spent most of the time in bed with it hanging off, hoping I could catch some sleep. We're back to the first week of October. I go see the vascular surgeon. The PA there looks at my foot and determines that I need a Doppler done. I'm on the table, undressed, ultrasound jelly on my leg, Doppler machine in the room, and a nurse comes in and says the surgeon said, "No, not to do the Doppler today. to reschedule me for the following week to get the Doppler done. What the hell? So in pain and miffed that we got that far and cleaning the jelly off my leg, we went home. Upset, hurting, pain still horrible. This was the first time that the word peripheral artery disease was mentioned to me. Well, I think this is all I'm going to cover today. You'll have to watch for part 2 of this story. I will have 2 links for peripheral artery disease, also known as PAD, in my comments. I also just recently changed prosthetics places since my first socket has never fit right since day 1. We are working on getting a suction socket. There is a link to a GoFundMe page that my sister set up to help me pay for the $4,000 deductible I need to get the socket. Any donation would be greatly appreciated and help me on my journey as an amputee. Thank you guys very much for watching, and please continue to watch my journey. Like and subscribe. Thank you again. See you next time. Bye.